Welcome. You have come to an exciting place that we all here know as Revolutionize Your Marketing. What a proposition. This is sponsored by and provided by Mill City Marketing MA and hosted by our friend John Petros Sr. And I'm Kurt Roskopf, co-hosting the show with you today. I'm also the operator of the World of Ability Podcast Network. So we are pleased, proud, and privileged to have Revolutionize Your Marketing as our feature Friday show live at 5 Eastern every Friday, right here with our friend John Petros Sr. So this is a marketing show. We're going to talk a little marketing shop today, make some public announcements, and I want to wish you a happy Halloween. It is October 31st, 2025, and we're coming at you live. So come on in here, John. You're not looking too scary today, so but one way or another, we're going to carry
No,
this happy Halloween theme today. So what do you got going on Halloween? Hoo, hoo, hoo,
I
hoo.
think I'm just hanging out around the house.
And for
If
your
I
wife, that
probably
can be
scaring her
scary
off.
for her, eh?
Well, I would have my costume on, folks, but you wouldn't see my face. You wouldn't even see me. All you see is a black figure. But yeah. Anyways, happy Halloween, folks, and thanks for tuning in or watching the replay, whichever. Um, it's going to be kind of letting everybody know what I have going on, and Kurt can fill in with what he has going on. Um, and talk about the guest we have coming in the next week and possible future guests. I've got a bunch of my have to set dates up with. Um, so as far as me, those of you who don't know me, I run Mill City Marketing, MA. That's the name of the show, Revolutionize Your Marketing. Um, any businesses out there that are listening, if you want to get known more, I have social media covered. I have live stream TV. I can do 30-second video ads on. And now I even have access to iHeartRadio, the biggest radio network in the country, with stations across the country, from coast to coast, from Mexico to Canada. So if you want to get the word out about what it is you have to offer, what you sell, get a hold of me. My website is Mill City Business Help, and it, business has one S at the end. My email, if you want to get a hold of me, is millcitymarketingma@gmail.com. Or you can find me on the business network of Alignable. You look up my name, John Petros Sr., or you can look it up by the business, Mill City Marketing MA. And if you are a business and you're not on Alignable, I just found out yesterday, Alignable is getting roughly 20,000 new businesses a month signing up. They now have around 3 million businesses across the US and Canada. And that comes from one of the vice presidents himself that I'm now working closely with. Uh, if you're in the local area where I am up here in northern Massachusetts, southern New Hampshire, being an ambassador for Alignable now, I do in-person networking every third Tuesday night at Owen and Ollie's restaurant up here in Drake, Mass. At 6 o'clock in the evening. So yes, folks, it's after work hours for that reason. And I'm working closely with the Greater Boston Alliance up here, who has 2,600 members in it now. So yes, I have connections with a lot, a lot of businesses. So if there's anything you need help with, if I can't help you myself, I guarantee you I've got people to connect you to. So whatever help you need out there for if you have a business or a service, you need help, get a hold of me. I'm your go-to person for anything you need, whether it's finances, even personal health, personal issues. I've got connections for you. That's basically it for me. Um, my guest for coming up next week is a gentleman from the Boston area who has an AI business. AI is a new thing up and coming. Um, I use it myself in my marketing. Um, a lot of people are afraid of AI, but those that are afraid of AI, I don't know what to tell you. It's here, it's going to stay, and it's going to grow bigger. Those of you who can use AI or who are using AI, if you don't keep up with what's coming out, you're going to be falling behind. Those that keep on top of it are the ones that will survive and keep going. So, gentleman coming in next week owns he created an AI business up here in New England. His name is Jerry. Gonna try this last name and hopefully I pronounce it right. We'll find out next week. Let Jerry Napolitano, I believe is how it's pronounced. I'm close anyway. Pretty good with last names. Um, so if you're interested in AI, tune again next week, live at 5, right here at the station. That's live at 5 Eastern time. Um, what else do I have going on outside of working on new clients? I've partnered up with some people that if you have a business, I can connect you with them and they can show you how you can save money in your business. If you feel you can't afford marketing, I got news for you. These people can find the money for you in your own business. Um, oh, I do have another website. If you go onto your computer or your phone and type in Mill City Marketing MA dot inspire dot world. That's another one of my websites. I have my logo on some merchandise that you can buy. And recently, if you're into any sport, baseball, basketball, hockey, football, if you go to any of the games and you go into the gift shops and you look at these nice jackets that they have, that they usually charge around, say, 250 or somewhere around there now. Guess what? You can get them on my website for 150. That's a bargain, folks. If you have a nonprofit and you're looking for a way to make income, open up my page, go down to the bottom, and there'll be a link down there that'll connect you with their company page. And they can set you up. You'll get a phone call, they'll ask you some questions, and before you know it, you'll have your own site to raise money 24/7, free of charge, without having to do pretty much anything except spread the word about it. So that's kind of a free ad there, Kurt. So what are you up to right now, Kurt? I need a break.
Right. Well, earlier today we had our Happy Neighborhood Project session on gobrunch.com/HMP worldwide with the founder and chief happiness officer, Edwin Edeberry. And so we had a little bit of a unique format for today. He was in the mood to spice it up, give it a twist and turn. And so we had about 10 of us on there today and had a nice little round robin and such like that. So I'm a co-host, captain of our co-host team for HMP B2B, Happy Neighborhood Project, business to business format, gobrunch.com/HMP B2B, and that's with the digit two, with gobrunch.com/HMP B2B. And so that's one element that we have focus on is to keep the invites going out to join there. And I met with somebody today from Honduras and found out that that Alignable thing with Honduras, Alignable is US and Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was talking about how he was trying to get onto Alignable. He has a US phone number, but there was something about how he put in that US phone number and he's in Honduras and somehow Alignable bumps him off. He was trying to be on a I forget what you call it, like the private networks. Um, the where you where you go on and you mask your location, like you don't share the IP address with the website. And he said that didn't work, so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
we have somebody out there, so I guess we have a thing. It's alignable envy. He's envious, with
Well,
our ability to get on alignable.
a little bit of inside information. I believe Alignable is looking at going international. I don't know
Nice.
how soon, but it's in the talks, I think.
Wow. Yeah, that'll be exciting because once they're international, they'll double their community really fast. They'll go from their
Yep.
3 million to 6 million. Like it'll seem like just overnight almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
So
sure. Because there's a lot of businesses on Alignable that have international business. Now, yeah, that would explode big time.
yeah. So other than that, I kind of have my showpiece I use for other speaking arrangements. I'm kind of a big deal, but I do that showpiece. I do that showpiece to kind of, liven up the interaction and everything. But my point of it is, I don't know if you've ever heard this story, John. I don't think you've heard this one. Let me know after I tell the story if you actually have heard it before. But basically, I tell the story about 6 years ago. I was out at our water ski venue. I'm a lifetime water skier. My family and I perform water ski shows. We're part of a water ski club at our local lake, and the venue we ski at is Lakefront Park. And, so I had a practice night where I was out there with the water skiers in the one, performance behind the boat that we do and this particular one. And I came in and, you know, I'm done. I'm up at the stage area, take off my skis, grab my skis, and I saw out at a tree, there was a gentleman standing there. And, I'm a show skier, so I have a little bit of a stage mantra, a stage presence, and I'm a character, so, hey, anything you like there? What's your review? You have some things that'll help me do better. What you got? And it got a little banter going between me and this gentleman. And by the time I was done with him, he already told me a little bit about how he enjoys lake country living, we call it, being out by all these lakes we have out here in this part of Wisconsin. There's a ton of lakes all over Wisconsin. I don't know what the number is, if it's like 13,000 lakes or something. Minnesota, is well marketed for their 10,000 lakes. And we've got a
Yeah.
few thousand more lakes than Minnesota, but they get all the credit for like, ooh, 10,000 lakes, which is a big deal. There's no doubt about that. But so by the time this guy was done with his remarks, I'm like, hey, what about joining our club? And what happened is that created a little awkward silence. Some might call it a pregnant pause. And, went for like, I'm going to say a good solid minute. So all my body language and everything was pretty obvious. Like I asked the question and I I am very interested in his response. And what he ended up saying back is, I thought you had to be somebody. So just think about that. A man from the community is telling me that he thought he had to be somebody, and that's his reaction to my saying, "Hey, join the club." So that really was an eye opener for me. That to think that and we have the privilege to be able to ski in a show, be a part of the club, that we're putting in the presence of other people's minds that basically they're not worthy to be a member of the club. Like they could never do what we do, you know. And to me, I think there's an opportunity in that with marketing because I used to be in the golf business. And when you run a golf course, you're in the tourism industry, you're in the hospitality industry, and your ability to really give people that feeling that they belong, that's part of how you build your business. And I really
Yeah,
think with water skiing that that's the same way. You grow your future with your water ski endeavor by giving people that are feeling like they really belong there, like they're really at home. They're really with a group of friends and acquaintances, and these are the people that they want to hang with. You got to give that feeling, and that true experience. They say that about political candidates, right? Like, people sit there like, would I want to sit at a tavern and have a beer with that guy? Or would I go and hang out, with whatever ladies are running for office? Would you really feel like you'd be out in a public place and you'd be sitting next to them and, talking like you and I are talking, Jen? That's really part of the test of candidacy. So I think, I think that's a little bit of how we can look at our business and ourselves. They say, when you're in sales, that there's a lot of people are buying you. Like there's
yeah,
the whole thing of products and services can sell themselves. Like, it's the cat's pajamas and, and there is a lot of that. People hop on these cell phones, like you're talking about the Inspire World stuff and things like that on our computer and all that. So there's a lot of do-it-yourself shopping and procurement. But when there's that arrangement that there's a salesperson in the mix, we as salespeople, we affect that buying decision. And depending on what we're representing, like if it's business services, like John's here representing Mill City Marketing MA, John knows that if people just kind of, I don't know about that John Petros Sr., I don't know, I'm gonna go to somebody else. They're not even getting highly educated about the products or services, the iHeartRadio program, the streaming television, all the stuff that John does. They don't even get to that point because they're like, I don't know about John, but then you can have the other side of it. People hang with John, all day long, every day, go to the Alignables, go, you know, do the Smart Connects on Alignable, everything that come on the podcast, all the things, and fall in love with John that, long-term business relationship. But then maybe they forget to learn about the iHeart radio program. Maybe they're not even thinking, hey, John, how does the live streaming television program work? Tell me more about the Alignable. Some people may not have that inclination. And
yeah,
so that's where in sales, a trick to the trade is what some call high yielding questions. So to me, the idea is that if you can come up with those questions based on how you acquire all your clients or people who are hanging with you, the things shared, the benefit to Alignable, like, hey,
yeah,
you ever find that you go to events and these people are always trying to hard sell you and pitch you and you just feel like you're being sold to the whole time? Well,
yeah,
if you feel like I know how you feel, I felt that way before, and this is what I found. I found Alignable. Alignable is just about building the relationship, just all about know, like, and trust. And you can put your products and services aside. You might end up telling about it if the person on a Smart Connect is asking about it. But otherwise, it's about you building a relationship with you. That's what we do, right, John? So the idea is, you know, this is
Yeah.
a part of marketing that we talk to. It's the four parts of really human behavior. Like you could think of anything in life that if it's based on engagement and something happening, like say you're going to throw a party, you're going to throw a birthday party. Well, you have to get the
Yeah.
attention of those you think might be at your birthday party. You have to really reach them that they're interested in coming to your birthday party and that being at your birthday party is what they desire to do. And then you have to help them take action by having a good invite to tell them when to be there, what to bring, and, bring gifts, don't bring gifts, all the things. Those are the four parts that of human behavior that is used in marketing: attention, interest, desire, action. And with the desire, that D, AIDA, the D also can go from desire to decision to then get into the action, and that's where in marketing has your product, your price, because John's talking about that you can get on live streaming television, you can buy advertising with iHeartRadio, and somebody may be like, I want to do that. And then they look at the price and they're like, ooh, I didn't realize that it had that kind of cost with iHeartRadio. Maybe not. Maybe it's like a steal. Maybe it's like, oh my gosh, I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be so much more. How come it's so cheap, John? Like, is this going to do anything for me? Why is the price so low? So, but the product, the price, the place. So that's the thing about networking is
Yeah.
you want to be like Visa. That's what
All
people
over
tell
the
me.
place.
Oh, Kurt, they tell me, Kurt, you're like everywhere. You're on Alignable, you're at the Happy Neighborhood Project, you're with the Great Discovery events, you're over on Be Connected, you're here, there, and everywhere. So it's like Visa, everywhere you want to be. So product, price, place, and promotion. So like we're doing this podcast. A podcast is a great place for promotion. So, like next
Yeah.
week, we're going to have Jerry on here and we're going to be promoting AI. And it's not just a self serving objective. The idea is we need to do something to put this out for exposure. That's a big buzzword in marketing or advertising, exposure. Because if we're out of sight, we're out of mind. So, like today on
Yeah.
Halloween, everybody's going to have their costumes, and the things people think about on Halloween is all the scary things, all the witches and the goons and the goblins and the screaming and all the stuff, and that's how Halloween gets marketed. And
Yeah.
and then we have our friend Santa Papa John, the Santa thing, the ho, 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 being Santa approved. And John does Santa Papa John does these Wednesday evening reading stories for kids. So it can be adults too, but his objective is to reach kids and have them hear his story read to them from Santa. He does that every Wednesday. And then he gets on TikTok. Now, John, I hear you're big on TikTok, right?
I'm on here. Yeah.
He's on there. He's not so big on TikTok.
I'm not so big as Santa Papa
but
John.
but he's on there. He's a
Yeah.
grandpa that's to Papa John's. So yeah, that
Yeah.
TikTok is kind of a must connect thing. You at least have to be aware of what's going on in TikTok because it's such a big element.
Yeah.
Our instant gratification society and our ADHD driven society, where you got like 10 seconds of attention span that we've gotten to be now.
Yeah.
TikTok serves that quick consumption. Next. But he
Yeah.
does TikTok lives. Have you ever been on a TikTok live, John?
No, I haven't. I'm supposed to be on
Hey,
his one of these times too. I got to get back to him about that.
Yeah, so his handle on TikTok is SPJ Happiness. So you go to the TikTok .com and then you put at SPJ for Santa Papa John. And then he's all about spreading smiles, but he went with happiness for his TikTok. That's kind of a handle he's creating. So he's got Santa Papa John. He's already got that perfectly branded. Now he's adding to the depths of his attention and his imagery, SPJ happiness. So he's becoming a king of happiness, I guess.
Actually, a
Uh,
quick note for you, Kurt. You hear what happened to Santa up at the North Pole last week?
no.
He got caught in a whiteout.
Whiteout. Of course. It's a little early for a whiteout, but there you go. John Petros Sr. providing.
Little
uh,
humor there, folks.
yeah, so hey, that's an element of marketing too. They say laughter is the best medicine, right? So humor, you see that a lot of times, especially with the Super Bowl ads. We can start talking about that on your
Oh yeah,
show, John. Really prime the
yeah.
pump on the Super Bowl will be here before you know it. It's kind of like you get through the holidays and then the Super Bowl is actually the largest holiday on the planet. You know that, right, John?
Oh yeah. I have a Super Bowl party every year.
Yeah, so that's just it. That when you look at, on that Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Now, when is the Super Bowl this year? Um,
I don't know.
I would guess I'm used to it being the first Sunday in February, or like, I don't know if it's February 8th. I guess I'd be surprised if it's February 1st. Um, but the reason I always have to
Keep checking
find out
soon.
is that we do a Festivus in February event. Um, when is Super Bowl? I'm doing the Googles now.
When
Um,
is Super Bowl Sunday?
yeah, it's February 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that falls on our Festivus in February weekend. We do Festivus in February, February 6th through the 8th. So the Super Bowl closes our Festivus weekend. When the Super Bowl is over, our Festivus celebration is over. Now, do you know about our Festivus event, John?
Uh, I
Maybe.
remember you mentioned it to me last year, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, I probably did. You might even been on our Zoom during Festivus for all I know. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah, so but yeah, and it could be something that you maybe came on for our World of Ability show, and then all of a sudden it was also Festivus weekend. But if you go to festivus.now.site, you see it on there now. We got the countdown on there, countdown ticker, 98 days, 1 hour, 7 minutes, 13 seconds. So, but yeah, we've got all the stuff with all the Seinfeld sitcom. We do a brunch buffet. We do our 12 o'clock shakedown, a scavenger hunt, potluck supper, picture hunt, judging. We have a session for judging pictures collected through the scavenger hunt. Our daughter's birthday is that weekend, so there is that birthday party. Board games.
Boy,
Sunday
ain't
we
she lucky. The hell of a
right.
birthday party for her.
Yeah, we call her our Festivus miracle because the story, John, is that her the due date was March. I gotta think now. It was like I was gonna say like March 20th or something. I don't know. She was born a few weeks early, so it's probably like early March, like March 6th or something. I don't know. But she
Like
was
around my birthday.
that
My
that's your
birthday's
birthday?
March 7th.
7th? Well, that's not right. Well, your birthday is March 7th, but the due date was more like the 20th or something because she was born 6 weeks early. 6 weeks
Mm.
premature. So the idea is that for that weekend, our Festivus in February event, we had like zero. And actually, our friends were planning on throwing, and in some sense, they did throw a baby shower, that weekend. But the idea is that it had to be coordinated that my wife was in the hospital. Gave birth to our daughter on that Friday. It was Friday, February 6th, 2009. So basically, we had this whole thing. A friend of ours that's deceased now, we set him up. Set him up to be able to get into our house, and he came into our house for us to, open up everything for the guests. And I just met somebody in business networking, and I invited her to our party, and then her and another colleague come into our house with this friend and other friends. Just met me, didn't meet anybody else, walks into this party, and I'm not even there. I'm at the hospital with their daughter being born. This lady ended up making, I forget if she made pasta or I don't know what it was. She just kind of, I just met her and she took care of cooking up all the food and everything, and, stepping in and being the host of the whole thing. So between my friend and her, it was, quite an experience. But that is something, having events and hospitality. Those are all things that fall under marketing. So it's talking about price, place, promotion, publicity, promotion. There's advertising, customer service. And for a mature business, if a business is really successful and operating the way a business is designed to operate, um, marketing would attribute to 20% of sales. So if you look at your annual sales, you take 20% of that. And for a mature business that is successful and ready for this, you would take 20%, put it to marketing, and then divide it out into how much you're going to keep for customer service, how much is being paid out on, commissions, because you could pay a salesperson 20% of all the sales they bring in. So you have all that to deal with. But
Yeah.
but until then, people are like, just bootstrapping, not put much of anything into marketing, graduate the percentages go up to 5, 10, 15% is probably way more typical than the 20%. And then so that's how folks like you and I, create a living is, what people understand about marketing to know enough for spending it and outsourcing it. So there you go,
Yeah.
John. There's my marketing review of the day for this episode. So we're coming up to the top of the hour. So I'll let you wrap it up. How do you want to wrap up this, Kurt and John dialogue here?
Well, like I said in the beginning, happy Halloween, folks. Go out, have a good time, enjoy the kids, have fun. Don't eat too much candy. That's all I can say. But hey, it's a holiday to have fun. What can I say? I was hoping to be able to go out and around myself tonight, but the kids are going out on their own. So I don't get to use my costume this year. I should have put it on for tonight. But anyways, I think they're getting ready to head out. Let me see if they're in costumes. Hold on.
All right. So we may have a little show and tell. So again, we're here with host John Petros Sr. He runs Mill City Marketing MA. So it's through his work with Mill City Marketing MA that we have this show, Revolutionize Your Marketing, every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, live at 5 Eastern. And I'm Kurt Roskopf. I'm uh, producer and operator of the World of Ability Podcast Network. So again, we love our Revolutionize Your Marketing show right here on the network. So John, I'm getting the drift that your showpiece of potentially kids in costume or something that apparently it's not happening?
No, no, they're not in costume.
All right.
I don't know what they're doing. They're supposed to be going to, the two oldest ones are supposed to be going somewhere to pass out candy.
Oh,
And
okay.
the younger ones are going out to trick or treat in the neighborhood where they're going. So
All right. Well, we got
who
everything we
knows?
need. All right.
But so that's
So,
it for today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. And if you want to see my past, some of my past um, podcasts, go onto YouTube, type in Mill City Marketing MA, um, subscribe and like, and watch my videos.
there you